Hi, everyone. This is Congressman Joe Courtney, Connecticut's 2nd District. I'm here in my Norwich District office today, and I'm honored to be joined by a great constituent and a great, I think, hero for the state of Connecticut, Gerry Wright, who served during the Vietnam War. He was a staff sergeant in the U.S. Army. First sergeant, sorry, don't want to get that wrong, in the U.S. Army. And again, has been doing tremendous work for veterans over the years, and lately has been very focused on one specific issue, which is addressing a real problem, a real gap in the VA system for helping Vietnam veterans and Korean War veterans who handled Agent Orange during their service. The legislation, which was introduced at the end of July, is the Agent Orange Exposure Fairness Act, HR 6566, which I worked with Gerry to make sure it got introduced, and we're working to gin up support here in Connecticut and around the country. And with that, I want to just have Gerry talk a little bit about your experience that led up to this bill, and also the great work that you've been doing advocating all across the country.
Well, I'm a Vietnam veteran, but I'm also an Agent Orange survivor. And I did have the opportunity of spraying Agent Orange in Vietnam. I do have pictures of the truck that I sprayed off of. And one of my closest friends passed away at 59 years old from Agent Orange. Agent Orange is the most toxic dioxin known to man. And I have paperwork that I saved since 1980 for some reason in a trunk, and was going back through it and found a paper from Marinetta, Ohio in 1982 where they said 3 inches, 3 ounces of Agent Orange dumped in a water supply in New York City would kill everybody overnight. A pinch would kill everybody in Marinetta, Ohio, overnight. This is the most. So anyway, what got me interested was I retired, sold my business, and needed something to do. And I got digging through the Agent Orange material. And last October, if you remember, in Eastern College, I went up to you and you welcomed to Vietnam Veteran Home Day. And I said, you see the end dates on 3 of the 15 diseases? End dates. How can a Congress in the 1991 Agent Orange Act put end dates on an illness? And the end date is 1 year of separation with a 10% disability for chloracne, neuropathy, and skin blistering, and also liver disease. That doesn't count the 35 to 37 cancers that is related to Agent Orange. So I got thinking about it, and I said, I need to get out there and talk about it. How do you do that? I'm just another guy in another truck or another guy in a car that pulls in the rest area. No, Gerry has to sell his Corvette and his camper and his tractors and go buy a motorcycle. And I have a trailer, lettered, sprayed, and betrayed. And I left May 2nd, and I traveled all the way to Key West, back to Texas, to California, Oregon, Washington, Montana, and back home, 10,357 miles. And I felt like Johnny Appleseed. It just planted the seed. I talked to hundreds of veterans and dozens of Legion posts all across the country, and I got the same reaction from everybody. They either knew of or heard of or were exposed to Agent Orange. I've met and interviewed widows. I've interviewed 20-year-old girls that grandfathers passed away from Agent Orange. More guys come up to me and they're just shaking and their skin is peeling off. And they said, we go to the VA and we just gave up. We don't have a voice anymore. We just said, we're not going back there. And with 80% of the veterans not in Connecticut alone not going to the VA system, that's pretty sad.
And that 1 year exposure requirement is really the barrier.
It is the barrier because sometimes they'll treat you for it, depending on your VSO or the doctor who you're being treated by. And I can have the same disease as you and the same problems, and you could get help for it, and I get denied.
Unbelievable.
And they keep putting you off, putting you off, putting you off. I turned 70, and at the rate of the Vietnam veterans are dying at 525 a day now, was 380. We're going to be gone in 7 years. So my life expectancy, unless I'm lucky, I've got 7 more years to go.
So as a result of that effort, you
So-
know, you got so much support.
Oh, got some
Yep.
support, especially the American Legion, and we also got a resolution that was passed by the state of Connecticut on those end dates. We need them eliminated by Congress, and that's in the hands of National to be voted on in 2 weeks,
The National American Legion.
the National American Legion. So, once we get that in, and thanks to you for working on that House bill for us, now we get the co-sponsors, we're good to go.
That's great. So that's going to be the plan. So a bill is now introduced. We can start getting the word out to other colleagues on the, particularly on the Veterans Committee and on the Armed Services Committee, which I serve on.
Yep.
And then just kind of keep building up that support, which with other Agent Orange efforts, you know, it has been bipartisan, you know, in terms of getting people to work together across the aisle on the Blue Water bill, which you're aware of. But, you know, getting that National American Legion endorsement, I think, will go a huge way. How many members do they have around the country?
Almost 2 million.
Yeah, that's a pretty good network to start getting the word out to.
And then I'll start working the VFW, the DAV, and the VBA, the Vietnam Veterans of America
Right.
is very proactive.
Yep, so, well, thank you so much for your leadership on this. You know, as you point out, it really almost required departing veterans to be able to somehow self-diagnose their own medical condition within a very short time frame. And if you didn't do it, then, you know, the rest of your life, you know, it was impacted in terms of getting care through the VA system. And that's just really unjust and unfair.
And their children. And
Right.
their children.
And their children,
And their
you're right.
children.
No, this
It's
is-
going to second and third
No,
generations.
it does have a carryover to your children and grandchildren. So again, Gerry hails from Andover, Connecticut, one of the 63 towns in the 2nd Congressional District. He's done great work for the Patriot Riders, among many other groups for the
Legion Riders.
Legion Riders. You know, again, we're just so lucky to have your advocacy, which is, you know, you don't have to do it, but you're doing it for all the right reasons. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Great.